It was supposed to be a casual interview, a simple promotional tour for her upcoming album, set against the glitz of Seoul's music scene. But when IU, South Korea's beloved soloist, widely praised for her emotional depth and lyrical genius, was asked about the state of K-pop in 2025, she didn't talk about numbers, digital charts, or the latest dance trends. She mentioned Jin. And her words stopped the room. Honestly, watching Jin these days, it's intimidating. He's no longer just an idol. He's something else. Something deeper. He's reached a level I'm still trying to understand. Silence fell. The host blinked. Even the staff off-camera paused. IU, known for her poise and perfection, had just admitted what many in the industry had whispered in private. Kim Seokjin has evolved into an artist so emotionally potent, so technically refined, and so spiritually present that even the elite feel the shift, and she wasn't exaggerating. Jin, following his return from military service, has unleashed a storm no one saw coming. His EP's Happy and Echo shattered all previous assumptions about his capacity as a soloist. Once labeled the visual, the soft-spoken hyung, the ballad boy, he now stands as a musical force of nature.
No gimmicks, no viral dances.
Just voice, depth, and humanity. IU, whose own career has long been defined by raw storytelling and haunting vocals, didn't just compliment Jin out of courtesy. She spoke with reverence. There's something sacred about the way he sings now. You don't hear him, you feel him. And it's humbling, even for me. Her statement sparked a wildfire online. ARMYs, hyenas, and general K-pop listeners joined forces in a rare cultural moment of agreement. Clips of Jin's live performance of Moonlight Memory, a track from Echo, resurfaced, with fans pointing to the trembling falsetto, the barely suppressed tears, the way he held a single note like it was a heartbeat. IU herself later liked a fan post captioned, "When Jin sings, you don't think about the industry. You think about your mother, your childhood, your grief, your healing." IU's remarks didn't stop there. She revealed that she had once declined to collaborate with Jin years ago, unsure if their musical styles would align. "Now I wonder if I could even keep up with him emotionally," she laughed quietly, then added, "He's operating on a frequency reserved for those who have really lived." Those last words hit hard. Jin, who once stood in the background, who gave up his 20s to serve his nation, who endured years of being the understated member, has now emerged not just victorious, but transcendent. His journey resonates with anyone who has ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or emotionally boxed in. IU's confession shattered the illusion that Jin's success is only fan-driven. When a titan like IU acknowledges your artistry with awe and quiet vulnerability, the industry listens. So do award committees. So do skeptics. And perhaps most poignantly, so do fellow artists, who see in Jin not just a peer, but a mirror reflecting what music should be. Not manufactured, not calculated, but true. IU closed the interview with a whisper that now echoes across media headlines. He's no longer in the same lane as the rest of us. He's somewhere further, somewhere lonelier, maybe, but more beautiful. And with that, she said what many were too afraid to admit. Jin isn't just redefining himself. He's redefining K-pop. For years, the Korean music industry was built on formulas, perfect visuals, synchronized choreographies, viral TikTok trends, fan service-heavy content. Artists were expected to be performers first, personalities second, and perhaps, if there was time left, musicians. But something changed in 2025. And that change has a name: Kim Seok-Jin. And the weeks following IU's candid confession about being intimidated by Jin's transformation as an artist, a quiet wave of industry acknowledgement has begun to rise. This isn't fan-driven hype anymore. It's not just ARMY. This is the inner circle, the very machine that once overlooked Jin, finally beginning to pay attention. Producers who once passed him over for more charismatic vocalists are now revisiting his discography. Music critics, who used to focus solely on RM's lyrics or Jungkook's range, are now writing full columns on Jin's emotional control, silence as structure technique, and his ability to carry an entire song with nothing but breath and grief. Veteran singer Lee Sun-hee, often dubbed the Queen of Korean Ballads, posted on her private fan cafe, "I watched Jin perform, silence is still a song. It reminded me of the first time I heard Cho Young-pil, not because of the sound, but because of the stillness. He knows the power of stillness." Composer Bang Sherwoo, known for creating OSTs for globally acclaimed dramas, publicly stated he was rewriting a song originally pitched to a rising actor-singer, now hoping to offer it to Jin instead. He's no longer just an idol vocalist. He's an interpreter of pain. And I want my pain to go through his voice. Meanwhile, streaming platforms like Spotify and Melon have added Jin's name to their editorial Legacy Artists to Watch playlist, alongside legends like Kim Gunamo, Yim JBM, and even Boa. Jin, the visual of BTS, is now being mentioned in the same breath as artists who defined Korean music for decades. This dramatic shift didn't happen overnight. IT began quietly, with The Astronaut, with whispery verses, with breath breaks that weren't technical flaws, but emotional cues. And then came Happy, then Echo, and then stillness, a pause, a silence in the industry. Until people started realizing that while others shouted to be heard, Jin whispered and the world leaned in, and IU wasn't alone in noticing. Tion, queen of K-pop vocals herself, commented during a live session, "He sings like someone who's forgiven people who never apologized. That's not technique. That's life." Even hip-hop legends like Tableau of Epic High tweeted cryptic admiration. Jin, period. And then came the numbers. Undeniable, uncomfortable, and impossible to spin. Echo remains the most streamed solo Korean male EP in the first quarter of 2025. Jin's Silent Moon performance video reached 200 million views in 12 days. Without any challenge dance or viral hook, his Tiny Desk Korea appearance became the highest-rated solo episode in the show's history. But numbers were only the echo. Respect was the real roar. Music universities are already restructuring curricula to include case studies on Jin's solo arc, from idol visual to independent sonic entity. Vocal coaches are analyzing his vibrato control and emotional transference in masterclasses. Industry trainees are no longer being told to sing like Taeyong. They're told to study Jin.
Why?
Because Jin changed the value system. He proved you don't have to outsing, outdance, or outexpose your peers. You just have to outfeel them. And now, with IU's honest words setting the tone for an industry-wide reevaluation, the question hanging in the air isn't, is Jin finally being respected? It's, how did we ever miss this before? Jin didn't climb to the top. He became the top. Without noise, without force, just presence at a music landscape often dominated by digital noise, algorithmic trends, and chart-chasing spectacles. A quiet revolution is unfolding, not in the streets of Seoul, but in the studios of London, New York, and Los Angeles. The name on the lips of producers, vocal coaches, and therapeutic sound engineers? Jin, not Jin from BTS. Just Jin, the healer, the voice, the blueprint. As the wave of recognition for Jin BTS surges across Asia, something equally profound is happening in the West. Artists and industry veterans, some of whom previously dismissed K-pop as high-gloss performance art, are now sitting in dark rooms with headphones on, analyzing every breath, every silence, every restrained crescendo in Jin's solo discography, and they are stunned. Brian Eno, the father of ambient music and legendary producer for David Bowie and U2, made a rare comment during a private masterclass. There's a Korean singer, Jin. His song Echo? That's not pop. That's therapy disguised as melody. He reportedly asked his students to study Echo's bridge, where Jin allows a full 3 seconds of near silence before lifting into a falsetto that barely holds on. That's what courage sounds like, Eno said. In that pause, he trusts the listener. That's rare. And Eno isn't alone. Grammy-winning producer Rick Rubin, known for his minimalist approach and collaborations with Adele, Jay-Z, and Red Hot Chili Peppers, recently mentioned in Rolling Stone. Jin doesn't try to impress you. That's the art. He sings like someone who has nothing to prove, but everything to give. Rubin revealed he has studied The Astronaut and No Gravity as examples of modern musical restraint, a technique few Western artists dare to explore in an era obsessed with high notes and vocal gymnastics. But Jin's music isn't just resonating with professionals. It's entering therapeutic spaces. At Harvard Medical School's Center for Music and the Brain, researchers have begun clinical trials using Jin's Moonlight Memory and Silence is Still a Song in sound healing therapy for patients suffering from PTSD, anxiety, and insomnia. Dr. Lena Rourke, who leads the study, explained. His vocal tonality rests between 120 Hz, 160 Hz, which interacts with the parasympathetic nervous system. It literally slows the heartbeat, softens tension in the chest, and simulates the sensation of a memory being soothed. But it's not just science. It's intent. Jin sings like someone who wants you to live. This revelation shocked the clinical community. No other K-pop soloist, indeed few global artists, have been studied in such an intensive, neurological context.